Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And a very good morning to you. This is Newsline live, as always, from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And this morning, it's a great day out there because it's dry and so on. But also, we seem to have been, it's all about cricket really. And in Pakistan, we've had from cricket to the prime ministerial role. And the one and only Imran Khan has finally become the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and what a journey. And we hope to have a clip of that great man.
For 32. There it is. Agnew the fielder, and 100 for Sidath Wettimuny. 100 in his first appearance at Lord's. What a marvellous moment for him. He's made those runs out of only 154.
And that is, or that was Sidath Wettimuny, and that is Sidath Wettimuny here this morning. Very good morning to you.
Morning, Shauketaly. Good morning.
Talk about Imran Khan. I think his former wife, Jemima Goldsmith, expressed it all in that one tweet. 22 years later, after humiliations, hurdles and sacrifices, my son's father is Pakistan's next Prime Minister-elect. It's an incredible journey of tenacity, belief and refusal to accept defeat. The challenge now is to remember why Imran Khan entered politics in the first place. Many congratulations to Imran Khan from everybody all over the world, from the cricketing world, I suppose. And but right here is our very own Sidath Wettimuny to talk about a subject that is almost getting boring, and that is the world of cricket in Sri Lanka. More precisely, perhaps, the world of cricket administration in Sri Lanka cricket. Well, what's the problem, Sidath? What is it? Why is there so much of negativity and so on, instead of this country enjoying and heralding this wonderful game, which is our religion, really?
Yes, Shauketaly. I think one thing we need to remember is that we are where we are in spite of the problems we've had in cricketing management.
Yeah.
We have done very well in the past, and we continue to be there within the top few teams. But I think we can do much better, and we would have done much better if we had a system of better governance. I think governance and our constitution, to me, is the biggest problem we have in our cricket. And you know, I've been in 8 interim committees. That says it all.
Right.
And interim committees came in because there was chaos within the boards that were there in between.
Yeah.
And this is since 2000.
Right.
I've been in 8 boards,
Wow.
8 interim committees. So that tells you the story.
That is really the story. But I want to ask you this from the historical perspective. And we've had all these cricketing greats, such as you and so many, the Arjunas, the Aravindis, Kumar Sankara. The list is on and on and on. And we've really had some wonderful, super duper players. Tulip Pendis and all that, you know, great stuff. And I remember Sri Lanka cricket playing at Lord's, and Mr. Botham helping to sell all the tickets to a capacity house. And Sri Lanka were on top of their game. And it did so much, not only for Sri Lanka cricket, but to the wider perspective, for brand Sri Lanka and so on. And it seems to be such a pity that cricket is where it is. But you say despite. But what about all these previous cricketers? Do you all have a sense of frustration at what's going on?
Absolutely. As you said, Shaukat, I think the key word is brand Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
It is such a shame that the best brand Sri Lanka has, which I think is Sri Lanka cricket, is not exposed or highlighted the way it should be. Is not projected the way it should be because of the chaos we've had in our administration. And it's a shame. To me, the biggest shame is that we have more budding cricketers, young cricketers in this country than maybe anywhere else in the world. Maybe India and Pakistan have similar.
Yeah.
But we have so many youngsters come in, but we don't have a system, which catches them at the right age, 17, 18, and then harness their talents till that critical age of maybe up to 23. So we have a poor system. And that, I think, is a result of a poor constitution which has led to massive politicization, corruption, and keeping good people out of the system, keeping good people who don't want to come there and get involved in vote buying or things like that.
Right.
So until we make that change, we are not going to progress. We will go from one mess to the other. And, before long, I think the ICC will start getting very frustrated with Sri Lanka.
It's almost a preserve of the rich, of the financially rich. I mean that because we only have. We say we do. That's the fact. That Sri Lanka cricket has been administered by a few, maybe 2 or 3 families perhaps. The Damadasas times 2, the Ranatungas times several, and then we have Tilanga Sumutipala and his team, if you like, and not much else. But we've had all these others. We've had, like you just said, you've been in the interim committee 8 times and that's it. It's crazy, but in 18 years?
Yes, I think we started in 2000, and then it has just gone on. And the interesting thing, Shaukat, is it's a very simple thing when you look at it. Sri Lanka has 146 votes. Yes, our cricket board has 146 or 147 votes,
right,
with 21 million.
Right.
India, with 1.2 billion, has 46 votes, and their Supreme Court has actually told them to try and bring it down to 30. England has 18 or 20 votes. New Zealand 5 or 6, Australia 7, South Africa 8, and I think Pakistan recently, after a lot of issues, they were also in courts, but they brought it down to 10.
Right.
So it is only Sri Lanka that has this crazy voter base. And I have no objections if the voting base is a proper voting base.
Right.
If people who are eligible to have votes have the votes, then it's okay.
Yeah.
But we have many clubs that hardly play any cricket. Forget having grounds.
Right.
I don't think they have anything. They're just paper votes.
So there's a paper clubs.
Correct. And they have 2 votes, which is the same as maybe SSC and CC, Tamil Union, the big clubs.
Right, the big playing clubs.
They have the same. So what happens is when election time comes, those votes are bought, are sold variably at a price. That's how the system works.
And it's incredible. I just want to put that in perspective. India has 46 votes and over 1.2 billion, with a billion people population. Sri Lanka has 146, 147, in exchange for 21 million votes, people. And that must say it all. It's almost a bit like these jumbo cabinets we have, but that's another story altogether. Won't go down that road. But Sidath, what needs to be changed?
The constitution needs to be changed.
The constitution of Sri Lanka cricket.
Absolutely. And maybe tweak the sports law as well to accommodate that. But I know for a fact, through an act of parliament, it can be done.
Indeed.
And it just depends whether the minister wants to do it. I know the current minister, I've spoken to him twice.
Yeah.
He understands the problem. He knows that the change needs to be made.
Yeah.
But the question is whether he'll have the political will or whether he'll be allowed to do it.
That's the bit I don't understand, Sidath. What has politics got to do with why should it? Why is it?
Shaukat, even I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
That question I can't answer. But that's the situation. You know, I think. Otherwise, I have no doubt the minister understands the problem. That I know.
Right.
He knows what needs to be done.
Right.
So, you know, we'll need to give him time to see what he will do. But he needs to do this. He needs to do this if we are to change course in our cricketing administration and the future of our cricket.
And to discover all that talent that's out there.
Loads of talent. It's so sad when I think of how many youngsters play this game, and especially out of Colombo.
Yeah.
Today the game thrives out of Colombo.
Yeah.
And we aren't harnessing that talent the way we could.
Right.
You know, somebody may say, oh, we still have players coming in, and I agree. But there is much more. There's much more out there, and we aren't getting the best.
So until the heart of the problem appears to be the way, or the heart of the problem is the constitution of Sri Lanka cricket and the rules and so on. So until that's changed, it's a bit of a waste of time.
Absolute waste of time. And we have all, as cricketers, said this over and over and over again. So until these reforms are done, it's very difficult to get to the next level of our game.
Right.
And that's a sad thing.
Some people have a counter-argument that says that just because you did well on the... I don't mean you personally, I mean former cricketers. Just because they did well on the field doesn't mean that they'll do well in the administration of the game. Is that the case?
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that cricketers must be administering cricket.
Yeah.
Yes, you need a cricketing element.
Yeah.
In the structure of administration.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that cricketers need to administrate.
Yeah.
I'm saying you need the right guys with the right qualifications and the vision to manage our cricket. The cricketers being there is just an element. You do need guys who have played the game to explain what needs to be done on the cricketing side. So there is an administrative side and a cricketing side.
Indeed. For you past cricketers, I'm sure that when you played your last game, you didn't sort of shut that door and then carry on with your life. I'm sure you cricket and the world of Sri Lanka cricket is part of your life, has been.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is why we have periodically come and supported it.
Right.
It's not that we've needed it, but we've come and supported it and wanted to help simply because, you know, we too are passionate about the game. We too like to see Sri Lanka being in the forefront of cricket, international cricket. And it's a sort of game, you know, which when you travel abroad, you know, people talk about Sri Lanka cricket. They don't talk about much else, but they'll talk about Sri Lanka cricket.
Indeed. Yeah.
And that's the sort of pride we get being involved in cricket.
Indeed, indeed. I remember going through arriving at Heathrow, and the chap said to me, "Are you here for the cricket?" I wasn't really, but and I said, "Well, cricket's on the menu." he said, well, your team's doing very well. And he was telling me, I can't remember who was batting, and apparently whoever Sri Lankan batsman had got a century. And that this was the days before, when you got visas on arrival. And he ended up helping me through customs and all that. And, it was all about cricket.
Absolutely. That's the kind of goodwill Sri Lankans carry with them when they travel. It's through this game of cricket. What cricketers of today, yesterday, and even in the 70s and 60s did for the game. We've had great cricketers from, as you said, from way back in the 50s, 60s, from the times of Satasyam, Sagochai Vikrama. Yeah. We've had amazing cricketers.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll rejoin Sidath Wettimuny after this short break. Don't go away, after all, this is Newsline.
Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline, where we're in the company, in the august company of Lord Sid, or better known as Sidath Wettimuny. Or is it the other way around? Sidath Wettimuny, better known as Lord Sid. Now then, but Mr. Wettimuny, is there, this current minister, I hear what you say about the current minister, but this current minister also has been the first to admit that he knows nothing about cricket. And I'm wondering whether he understands the passion, and he understands, maybe, obviously he's a legal man, and from a legal perspective he understands the issue. When you explain to him, look, the Constitution is wrong because it's fixed in a certain way. We have paper clubs having the same votes as the playing clubs, which is to any A-level student will be able to write a half-decent essay on how bad that is, without knowing anything else. So why is it that, and I'm looking at this from a political side, we're about 18 to 20 months away from a presidential election to be called, which in turn will mean that the government will have changed, whichever way. That's not the point, but it'll change. And then everything else will change, because as Sri Lanka cricket has also been politicized, we will undoubtedly see some change, and that's because of the current system. So there's some quarters who say we need an interim committee now. The others, the minister doesn't seem to agree with that because he's not doing anything about it. Why, call it what you may, but the need of the moment is to change the Constitution. Why can't we have a reform committee?
We certainly could. We certainly could. The term interim has now been around for a long time. Yeah. So you could call it a interim, a reforms committee or a apex committee, whatever. Yeah. That is not the key issue. The key issue will be to actually do it. Yeah. And you were saying earlier, I believe the minister knows what needs to be done. He has spoken to so many people, he understands what needs to be done. Yes. Whether he can get it done is what we'll need to wait and see.
We in the past we had a president who had was 3 boys, and who liked, he was a sporty guy, President Rajapaksa, and he seemed to be getting well, he was there for cricket, for sport actually. He was a sporty chap, and in this case we have a president who's given the responsibility to Faiz Mustafa to sort it all out. And 1996 is a long way back, and we, you, me, and the whole rest of the country, it's this one unifying factor that we have. You never hear any form of communalism or racism or anything of the sort coming in when we talk about cricket. And yet it seems a great pity that we can't seem to get round and sort this out. We're fond of talking about all sorts of things, but why can't we? The former cricketers, have refused to meet the minister because they said, well, what's the point? We don't want to be part of an exercise in wasting time or in an exercise in procrastination. We want action.
Yes, I don't think the players have refused to meet the minister. What they have said, and which is the same thing I've said, unless there is a clear mandate to make a change, not to just be in an interim committee, but to make the change, make the constitutional change, do the reforms, nobody wants to get involved. That's where it stands.
Indeed. I mean, we've gone through so many sort of traumas or traumatic moments. The latest being this pitch fixing, and well, the ball tampering, and before that the goal pitch fixing. Now there's some business about breaking down the stadium in Gaul on some flimsy thing about from a UNESCO point of view and so on. And it all seems to be all sort of sideshows when the meat of the problem. What can you all really do? How much more proactive can you all get?
Well, I'm not too much aware of the details about the Gaul Stadium.
No.
I haven't been following that. But on the match fixing issue, I know that the ICC anti-corruption unit is very closely following that, and we need to be careful.
Now then, coming, that thing with the ball business, the one in the West Indies, coming on the back of that, of even a similar thing that happened in Australia and so on. Do you think these people are completely ill thought out of doing that? I know what the ICC have said, and they've fined them and all that, but
to me it is a lack of management that led to such a thing.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
We should never have got there. We should have never had a situation where there was no play for 2 hours. That is a no-no.
Right.
And if we had the right management, we obviously, I don't know whom they were talking to. We should never have left the field. Because you just don't do that in this game of cricket.
That's not cricket.
That's not cricket. If you have a problem, you lodge your protest, but you play on.
Indeed.
So that is where we lack direction. And that's where we have this void.
So it's back to basics, really. They always told us when we were in school, it's how you played, it's not the result.
Absolutely. It's not whether you won or lost the game, but how you played the game.
That's
right. I think it's so important that that spirit is upheld.
Back again to this of harping on this, how proactive can you all get? Can a group of committed former players and people committed to the better administration of Sri Lanka cricket, the better management, can you all get together and corner the minister and say, listen, chum, this is our game. You guys are only here for 4 years or 5 years, if you're lucky. But the game of cricket's here for a long time more. Can't you get him? Can you not get a bit more?
Well, we've all said that.
Right.
We've all said that. So the
Is
ball
he being obstinate then?
I wouldn't say that. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying he needs to study what's happening. He'll need to understand and figure out. There are court cases at the moment, so I really don't know where all that is. But the change needs to be done, and whoever does the change will go down in the history of our cricket as having done something for the game.
There are also some quarters who say that that the president of the country is the one who doesn't have the political will. But that's a little bit of nonsense, actually, because from the available evidence, if you like, we have a president who has no real interest in managing or micromanaging something that probably doesn't even interest him. But he knows that he's given a young minister to sort it out.
Well, I can't comment on that, Shaukat, but what I can say is you know, the government must realize that there is a huge following on this game. You know, we have about, somebody said 2 million Facebook supporters, and those are potential votes. So if you don't look after this game and nurture this game, even from a political point of view, you could be losing votes.
Yeah.
So that's something worth bearing in mind in government.
And obviously with the election of Imran Khan, he hasn't been appointed yet, he's claiming victory, and it looks like he'll be the next Prime Minister. But clearly Sri Lanka, with its proximity to Pakistan and various similarities, will now be wondering, and so the program will not be complete without me posing the question. Do you think that there will be a cricketer from Sri Lanka who will end up ruling the country?
Who knows? Anything is possible. There are changing trends all over the world.
Yeah.
Imran, I must say, was fiercely competitive and a born leader on the field of cricket. What he'll do outside is only time will tell. I'm sure it's an incredibly tough task,
yeah.
But he was a fantastic leader.
And but of course Imran has been at it for 22 years. He didn't just walk off the field and walk into politics. You know, he's been at it for a considerable time, regarded as a bit of a maverick at one time when he first entered, and didn't even get elected in his own constituency, which might have been off-putting to some people. But he persevered. He persevered.
But that's him, you know. He's got that nature in him. He's got those qualities in him. Even in his cricket,
yeah,
he was that fiercely competitive and a great trier.
This program's obviously been watched by people. It's been interactive in the sense SMS is available for them to SMS. And one of them is asking me, one of the viewers is saying, how can the cricket board get away from corruption when a bookie was at the helm of things? I know it by...
I would rather not comment on that.
No. But gambling and the ICC take a pretty dim view of that. And the thing, what bothers me, Ms. Wettimuny, is this, that we've had all sorts of administrations, the Sumatipala ones, Dharmadasa ones, Ranatunga ones, interim ones, and so on. And most of these ones, especially between the Sumatipalas and Dharmadasas, Ranatungas, all accuse each other of corruption. But in spite of millions and millions of rupees of Sri Lanka cricket money being spent on the legal fraternity, not once has it ever gone to court and a decision taken in terms of corruption. One will say, well, they did this. The other will say, well, no, they did that. And the third will say something completely else. They spend millions and millions of rupees, and yet Sri Lanka cricket doesn't even have a pool for its players.
Well, I tried to build one, but it was stopped.
There you are.
So, you know, this is Sri Lanka cricket. We started a indoor facility,
yeah,
and a pool which the players were crying for, absolutely crying for. And it was just put aside because I started it, and maybe the powers that be weren't happy with me. So
we were going to play a little clip of your other thing. Apparently you can sing.
No, I'm a guy who just sings at home.
Okay. Sidath Wettimuny, you were part of the Maharaja group, and we are so grateful to you for having accommodated us, and in spite of the boredom and the tiredness of the subject, which is the administration of Sri Lanka cricket, you've been here and you've made your thoughts clear. We just hope that Faisal Mustafa sits up and takes note that Sri Lanka cricket needs a jolly good shake-up. It needs a new constitution, and we need the sports law to be amended. And as a lawyer, Faisal Mustafa will understand all that. Sidath Wettimuny, thank you very much for making our day.
Thank you, Shep.
And do pop back anytime you feel that you need a voice to be given a bit more coverage. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's the way it was from Newsline. Do take care and God bless.
Sri Devi Rakiti Soga Sileni Panda Sri Dharmaskanda Rakiti Soga Sileni.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.